Everyone, this is Moupriya Banerjee. Hope you all are doing well. So from today onwards, I'll be starting with the osteology section. And today my bone is clavicle. I'll be discussing a few major things about the bone. Let's start. The clavicle is a long bone which is present horizontally. It is also known as a collarbone and it is 15 centimeter in length. It is having a medial end and a lateral end. The medial end is quadrangular in shape and the lateral end is flattened from above downwards. The shaft is in a curvilinear way and is S-shaped. The medial 2/3 is rounded and the lateral 1/3 is flattened. That makes the medial 2/3 have four surfaces: the superior surface, the anterior surface, the posterior surface, and the inferior surface. And the lateral 1/3 is having two surfaces, the superior surface and the inferior surface, and two borders, the anterior border and the posterior border. The inferior surface is having the conoid tubercle and the trapezoid ridge, and the superior surface is having no such ridges or tubercles and it is smooth. The sternocleidomastoid's clavicular head is attached to the superior aspect of the medial 2/3 medial border. And the pectoralis major muscle's clavicular head is attached on the anterior aspect of the medial 2/3. The deltoid muscle arises from the anterior border of the lateral 1/3 and the trapezius muscle arises from the posterior border of the lateral 1/3. The subclavius muscle arises from the subclavian groove which lies at the junction of the medial 2/3 and the lateral 1/3 in the inferior surface. The lateral end border will provide attachment to the capsule of the acromioclavicular joint, which is a plane type of the synovial joint, and the medial end border will provide attachment to the sternoclavicular joint's capsule, which is a saddle variety of the synovial joint. The conoid tubercle and the trapezoid ridge will provide attachment to the conoid and the trapezoid part of the coracoclavicular ligament. The inferior part of the medial end will provide attachment to the costoclavicular ligament from the first rib to the clavicle, and the superior part of the medial border will provide attachment to the interclavicular ligament. The posterior superior part of the medial border will provide attachment to the sternoclavicular joint. The side of the clavicle can be determined by holding the bone horizontally in such a way that its flattened end is lying on the lateral side and its enlarged quadrilateral end is lying on the medial side. This confirms that this bone is a bone of the left side. Now coming to the anatomical position, the superior surface will be smooth and the inferior surface will be having tubercles and ridge. So we have to hold the bone in this way. So this is the exact anatomical position of the clavicle, which is of the left-sided bone. Now coming to the ossification centers of the clavicle, it has two primary centers in the shaft and secondary center is present at the sternal and the acromial end. Coming to the clinical correlations of the clavicle is most commonly fractured bone and it is commonly fractured in the junction between the medial 2/3 and the lateral 1/3. The reason for the fracture at this site is that the two curvatures of the clavicle meet at this site and the transmission forces from the scapula to the clavicle at this site occurs through the coracoclavicular ligament. So mostly these are the things that are asked in the Vivas and are important as well. Do revise repeatedly to get a grip on the attachments and the anatomical position. Also attend the classes regularly and yeah, these are mostly the important things. All the best. Thank you, and do like, share and subscribe.